Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today continuing the offseason preview series. This time focusing on the Houston Rockets. If you like these videos, please give me a like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, let's just get right into it. So the Houston Rockets, obviously the reason I'm doing them is because of Kevin Durant. They are in the inner circle of 3 teams that Kevin Durant wants to go to. And for that reason, I thought that they'd be interesting to talk about. So let's get into this roster, starting with Fred VanVleet, $44.8 million, 1 year left on his deal, but it is a team option. Now, I haven't really heard if they're going to pick this up or not. I would assume probably not. It's kind of a weird thing, though, because if you don't pick up this option, it means you're probably going to be able to re-sign Fred VanVleet at a lower number. You know, around 30 million a year. But if you pick that up, if you don't pick it up, you're gonna have to extend him on a long-term deal. And do they really want that? Do they want to have Fred VanVleet around for the long term, or are they kind of like, you know what, we're fine with you on this big money, stay here for a year, and hopefully we have some more development in our guards. We'll see, but I do like Fred VanVleet. He's fine. Alperen Şengün, I'm not the biggest Şengün fan. He's not my favorite archetype, but I do think the thing that separates him from like a Sabonis type is his defense. I think he's actually a really good defender. I was watching on that Golden State series. He did a great job, and then that's a really difficult matchup for big centers that are kind of slower footed, not as quick like him. And he did a great job defensively. Offensively, I still think he's clearly not a number 1. I don't even know if he's a number 2 option offensively. I think his passing is just kind of fine. His scoring is good, but we saw in the playoffs, and again, I hate sometimes that, you know, we focus too much on the playoffs, but to me, you're looking at a team in Houston that's already proved what they can do in the regular season. I don't really care now about how do they do in this regular season game. I don't care. It's what can you do for me in the playoffs, right? We've seen it with Memphis, right? Oh, they keep winning 50 games, and they win 50 games, and they win 50 games, and they do nothing. So, I like Şengün. I think they should keep him in any trade. But they got to get him some talent. Jalen Green, to me, he's a negative contract that we need to try to get off of. I'm not a Jalen Green fan. I don't think he's good. I think he's a high-volume shot chucker who can put up decent numbers in a regular season in a macro context, but in a micro 7-game playoff series, he was terrible. I do think that there is he's not some non-NBA player. Like, there's definitely a role for him, but he's still, to me, far away from being like a number 1 or a number 2 option in a play. I mean, he averaged 13 points in their playoffs. There's only 31 minutes a game. And really, he averaged 13. Outside of the 38-point game 2, he probably would have averaged sub 10. He is just not even close right now to being a positive NBA player in the playoffs. So, I'm just not a Jalen Green guy. Next, we got Dillon Brooks. I think Dillon Brooks is solid. He's just a good, solid NBA player. He's a good defender, can hit open threes. He's just pretty good, right? He's solid. Not much else to say. Steven Adams, they just extended him 3 years, $39 million. Definitely an overpay for Steven Adams, but I don't hate it. He was really, really good for them. The double big was super interesting, super weird and wonky, but it was working. I don't dislike bringing him back at all. I actually like it, especially a team like this that is young, that is a little bit inexperienced. Bringing back the vets, bringing back the Unks, Unk Adams. I'm not mad at that at all. I know a lot of people wanted him to hit free agency and some team to pick it up for like the taxpayer mid-level. I was like, guys, he's not getting that. Yeah, I like bringing him back. Next, we got Jabari Smith. Jabari Smith is a frustrating individual, and here's why I say frustrating. Is because I feel like Jabari should be like this 35-minute-a-night starter, like big part of your team, and he just isn't. right? He's kind of been now the same guy for 3 seasons. 14 points, not great efficiency, solid defense, solid offense, just kind of a solid overall player. But I'm still a Jabari believer. I don't know why. He's just tall, he can shoot. But to me, he's probably going to get traded if they make a trade for like KD. Again, I like him. I'm not in love with him anymore, unfortunately. Reed Shepard got drafted 4th overall, was cooking in Summer League. Everyone was like, oh my god, this guy's going to be a dog. And he just kind of wasn't. Like, Reed Shepard was just kind of not great. And by not great, I mean he didn't play. Only played in 52 games. Only played 13 minutes a night in those 52 games. 4 points. You know, had a stretch of games where he was playing a bit more. Against the Clippers, against the Lakers, he got to play. He had a 25-point game against OKC. I don't know. He's so small. Like, I remember watching that Lakers-Rockets game and thinking, this guy is one of the smallest dudes I've ever seen. Like, yeah, there's guys who definitely were shorter, like Nate Robinson or whatever, like Muggsy Bogues, but I mean just how small he looked on the court. Now, it might have been because was against the lineup where the shortest Laker player was Austin Reeves and the other shortest Rockets player was like Cam Whitmore, but I just felt like he looks tiny out there. He just looks tiny, but he's a really, really good shooter. It's not surprising he didn't play. Obviously, I don't want to trade him or anything, and I think that they gotta kind of hope he can develop. Then you got Amin Thompson. Oh, let me wax poetic about my kid, my sweet, glorious prince, Amin Thompson. Amin FC, we are here. I love Amin. He is so good. He is just sensational. Right, I think he has legitimate... I don't know if he really has superstar potential. I still think, like, his offensive skill is miles away from ever being, like, a 20 points per game guy. But he already improved mightily from year 1 to year 2 as a just overall player. And, the shot is still not really there. But defensively, he's one of the, in my opinion, the 10 best defenders in basketball. One of the freakiest athletes ever. He is so good. Like, he's just so good. I did think his offense was pretty good. And, like, he tries. I think offensively... I mean, he averaged 16 points a game against Golden State. And had a couple of 20-point games where his athleticism was just overwhelming. So I do think that there is upside there to be a, guy who can be a guy, like a 20-point per game scorer. I still think that's probably a year or two away. But you never know. Again, it's not necessarily, I need him to shoot threes. It's more, can we get to the line more? Can we hit our free throws at a higher clip? Can we get to our floaters? Can we get to our little bump fades a little bit more consistently? That's the type of stuff for Amin to develop if he wants to become a, actual shot creator and scorer. Tari Eason, love Tari Eason. He's just solid, really, really good defender, just wrecks havoc. He's a good... Oh, Jock Landale. But Tari Eason, yeah, he's great. They have so many of these young wings, and I think that they're obviously going to have to kind of figure out what they want to do with them. We'll keep going here. Love Tari Eason, just a solid player. Aaron Holiday, whatever. Cam Whitmore. I really think that there are so many teams that would be... would give up... I don't know if they'd give up assets, but would give Cam Whitmore, 25 minutes a night. Not even joking. I think Cam Whitmore is honestly a pretty damn good player. I think he's a good scorer. Had that 34-point explosion against the Lakers. He's a good scorer. He's really, really athletic. Now, again, defensively, all that. He's only 20 years old. He won't turn 21 for another month. And, he's got 2 years left on his deal, so they don't have to trade him. But I think for me, I'd be willing to dig into my wing depth a little bit, knowing, hey, we have Cam Whitmore. We can give Tari Eason 30 minutes a night if we need to. So, Really interested to see what they do with some of these young guys. They're so young and they're so deep, but they lack that high-end talent, so it makes sense to consolidate for higher-end talent. Total $204.3 million. They're just below the second apron now. I actually realized this, but like the new league year is July 1st. Now Fanspo is already updated to the new league year, but the league itself hasn't. So these numbers are the post July 1st cap numbers. So that means, for example, like the Desmond Jane trade yesterday, I was confused. How does that work? Just because that trade is going to happen in the old league year. So they're really close to the second apron, but obviously, I mean, this is a really good team that was the 2 seed, won 50 plus games. Yeah, they got bounced in round 1, but they should be expensive. Depth chart here. I might stop doing the depth chart just because it's kind of like we're gonna add players in these videos. So, but to me, I mean, you got Fred, Jalen Green, Min, Dylan Brooks, Şengün. I mean, Min and Dylan Brooks can be flipped, doesn't matter. But you see, like Cam Whitmore and Tari Eason and Jabari are all off your bench. I don't think you need all 3 of those guys. You know, I think you can consolidate your assets a little bit and try and build up your guards, because it's like it's Fred VanVleet, Jalen Green, Reed Shepherd, right? So we'll see. Biggest questions. The first one is the KD trade. It's the biggest question for all these KD teams. I think that KD makes a ton of sense for the Rockets. I really think he just makes the most sense on this team compared to all the other teams, because I think on the Rockets, number one, he fits in like a glove defensively. Imagine a starting lineup of VanVleet, Brooks, Thompson, Durant, Şengün. That's a dominant defensive line. That is so much size and athleticism, and Durant's defense has been really good recently. And then offensively, I think it makes a ton of sense. Like, yeah, they kind of need play initiators, but honestly, Fred VanVleet, like, I don't have the on-off numbers pulled up right now, but like their record without him was like terrible. Like they were a bad team, not a bad team. They were not very good without Fred VanVleet. I do think he's a pretty effective dude. He shot 38% from the field last year. Oh my god. But he's a really effective, and he averaged like 8 assists the year before that, and 7 the year before that. So he's a really good play initiator, and I think Amin can do that. Like they honestly have decent play finishing. It's more of they just need someone who can like get a bucket when the game really slows down, which they just did not have against the Warriors. You saw that in that game. I think KD makes a ton of sense, right? I think KD, you know, can he be like a number 1 option on a championship contender? No, I don't think he can at this stage in his career. But if you got Şengün, you got Amin, you know, Fred VanVleet, and Dylan Brooks, like, I think there's enough there. And he doesn't have to do like initiation duties. Like he can just be get the ball on the mid post, rip through, 1 dribble, pull, cash, right? So I think it makes a ton of sense. I think they should trade for KD. Especially because they have Phoenix picks. It makes even more sense. Number 2, finding the top end creators. This just goes back to the KD thing. Just in general, finding more players who can do the half-court offense thing. They have everything else that you want in a team. They need some 3-point shooting as well. But like, here's my thing with 3-point shooting. Like VanVleet's a good 3-point shooter. Brooks is a good shooter. Jabari's a good shooter. Like they have some decent shooters. They just need someone, again, who can get the buckets. Why did I say it like that? Get buckets when the game really slows down. So I think that is going to be, you know, a Durant. There's not a lot, like my trades, I kind of struggled to, like, I didn't want to do a Booker trade because they're not trading Booker, but, you know, I think that that's what they need. Number 3, how to use the 10th pick. Now, this is the interesting one to me. How are they going to use this pick? Because I'm not really sure. I don't think drafting someone at 10 makes a lot of sense. Like, this team is already stupid deep and chock full of young talent. They don't need another guy. and like, oh, draft an NBA ready guy, but it's the 10th pick. That's the problem. Is you're kind of in that weird, like, the usually like the back half of the lottery are like the upside swings. That's like what the back half of the lottery is. Like, they're not gonna get Knuckle. It's gonna be guys who are big swings, and they don't need that. Like, they need players who can help them now. So I think they should trade this pick. Now, I do have a trade where they're not trading it for a player, and I'll show you what that trade is when we get to the trade section. But again, I'm just not really sure, like, why am I drafting someone at 10 when I have too much young guys. I have too many young guys. So we'll see how they use that pick. Number 4, the Amin Lee. As I mentioned earlier, Amin Thompson has sky-high potential. I compared him to, like, Draymond Green, I think is what his future in the NBA is, right? Obviously, like, he's taller than Draymond. Again, not in the way of, like, exactly how he's going to play, but more what his impact is going to be. His impact is not going to be scoring 25 a night. I think he'll eventually be a 20 points per game guy, which I guess isn't Draymond. Draymond never even got close to 20. But, like, who else? Who else is that? Like, I don't know. But to where he can legitimately be a number 2, like, have all NBA impact, averaging, like, 18, 19 a night. But it's like, this dude's, Wimby's winning the DPOY, Cooper Flag's winning DPOY, but, like, he's, like, second or third. I just love him, man, dude. He's so athletic. He's so good. And he was a playoff riser. He went to the playoffs, and he had a couple rough games to start, but once he found his groove, like, he was the best Rockets player. So I love him, man. I think you can. I am confident in saying you can bank on him being a future All-NBA player. Will he be 25 points per game? No, probably not. But All-NBA, yes. And the number 5, Jalen Green's future. This one's simple. I don't think he has a future in Houston. My thing with it is he's locked up for 3 more seasons. I actually thought this was 5 when I was, like, thinking about what I wanted to say for this video. I was like, oh, he has 5 years left on his contract. There's only 3. And, like, 33 million actually isn't that bad. It sounds really, really bad. But 33 is fine. My thing with Jalen Green is he's not worth that money at all. He is, like, not worth $33 million. And I do think, if you sent him somewhere that maybe he could get a fresh start and get some more. My whole thing with it, dude, he's in year 5. By now, we would have seen something. And I've argued with people about Jalen Green who are like, other players have taken a while to get going, and they bring up, like, oh, what about Steve Nash? What about Shea? And it's like, by this point in Shea's career, he was like an MVP guy. And, like, I guess with Steve Nash, but Steve Nash's whole thing was he never met the right, having enough on-ball creation, not reps, but didn't have the ball enough, or was a second option, or whatever. When he finally got to become a true first option on a team that was built around his strengths, yeah, of course, he won MVPs. It wasn't that he all of a sudden went from being a backup to amazing, right? Or even like Steve Nash here. First 4 years of his career, again, he's like a sub 10 points per game guy, jumps up to 16. A lot of that, though, his minutes jumped up, his role jumped up, he became a starter. To me, that's not really indicative of he got better, his role increased. Jalen Green's been a guy who's played 30 minutes a night every year of his career, pretty much, and he's always been the same guy. He is last 25 games. That's always been the thing with him, is he'll have stretches or he's amazing. He's just not a consistent player because he doesn't have the in-between game. It's so important to have that in-between game in today's NBA, right? It can't just be layups and threes. That era is gone. Defenses have gotten too good at that, especially when you're not that good of a layup or threes guy. He doesn't have a midi. He doesn't have that floater. He doesn't have that ability to just get to the elbow and pull up like Shea, or get a guy trapped in jail like Luka in a pick and roll and pop a little floater, or any of these other things that these top-end creators can do that allow them to get some easier buckets, right? Like, what does Shea want to go to when he's struggling? It's get to that baseline or get to that elbow and get a shorter midi. Jalen Green can't do that. It is, if my three ball is falling, I'm good. If it's not, I'm bad. And when you're not Steph Curry, or when you're not like Ant or Luka or whoever, it's just not going to work. So I also just don't think he's a very good athlete. He's a good athlete. He's not an elite athlete. He can jump high, but he lacks a lot of the other athleticism things, like the ability to stop and start at a really, really high level, like Shea, or again, just stop, like Luka, right? These top-end guards that have, again, Shea and Luka, you wouldn't call those dudes elite athletes in terms of like, oh, they don't dunk on people. They don't do all that. But what are they? They have all these, like, all of this, change direction, and they know how to use their size, and they know how to use their whatever athleticism they do have. Whereas Jalen Green, it feels like he doesn't know really how to use his athleticism, and it leads to he's just not that good. So I don't think his future's in Houston. I think they need to move him. But yeah, that is the roster breakdown. Biggest questions. Now we're going to get into the trades. So got 5 trades, I think. 2 of them KD, 3 separate. So, alright guys, we are back to the trades. And the first one up here I have is, of course, the KD trade. This one a bit more complicated than some of the other trades, where we got 3 teams going here. Suns are getting Nick Claxton. Jalen Green's going to the to the Nets. Nick and the Rockets get Kevin Durant. Got some picks moving around here, but again, as I said in the earlier section, I just really like KD's fit in Houston. I think it makes a bunch of sense for both sides, because the Suns can get Rockets picks. This next trade, and the other one here, is where the Suns get the 27 Phoenix first. The way I see this happening would be, do they want an extra pick, or do they want Nick Claxton? Do they want to be good now, or do they want to be good in the future? So I think this makes a ton of sense to me. I like KD's fit in Houston. I really do. And for this trade, I just don't feel like they really have to worry about giving up too much. You're giving up 2 Phoenix picks, which are very valuable, and we're giving up some of our depth, but you're getting KD, right? This one you're giving up a little bit more, or a little bit less, and you're giving up those 2 first. So I really like the KD fit. I think the KD trades make a ton of sense to the Rockets and to the Suns. I think it's his best destination. So moving on to the next one, I have Dillon Brooks for Malik Monk. Again, I was trying to think, what guards make sense, and I went with, Malik Monk could make sense if they want to trade Malik Monk. I don't know what the deal is with Malik Monk, and it's not really too, I don't know. But I like Malik Monk's fit. He's a good playmaker, really, really good scorer. Can be a 6th man, can start, can play shooting guard, can play point guard. Dillon Brooks, giving him up is a little unfortunate. I would prefer to keep Dillon Brooks, obviously. But again, we got Tari, we got Jabari, we got all these dudes. And you could do this trade with the KD trade, which I saw. And by the way, I did in fact see a report on my phone that Jalen Green would get rerouted if he got sent to the Suns in a KD trade. I'm going to save this picture because I feel like this trade makes a lot of sense. But do I think, again, 3 second-round picks going back to the Kings, it's tough. I mean, the archetype that they need, which is like high-end shot creator, is like a superstar. And it's really hard. I don't want to just throw 5 superstar trades. I want to actually have realistic trades here. And if they wanted to if they traded Jalen Green in a KD trade, let's just stick with trying to get some lower level guys. So this makes sense. The next trade I have is going to be a draft pick trade, and here's my reasoning for doing this. As I said in the earlier section, I don't really want the 10th pick. Not that I don't want to use the 10th pick, but They might love someone at 10, and if they do, then so be it. I'm a dumbass. Like, who cares? But if they're not in love with someone at 10, or if they just kind of like, they're not going to play a lot, this makes sense to me, where you're sending out 10, you're sending out a 2027 Brooklyn swap rights. Now, I'm not sure on Fanspo if I can trade back the swap rights. What I meant to trade, and I don't know if this is right, is trading back the swaps where the Nets will own their pick unconditionally. I don't know if that's how that works. I don't know if this is like, they're not going to, Houston won't have a pick in 2027. I think this is what this means, actually, which I don't want to do. So the Nets would have to send back a pick. I want to reverse the swap, effectively, if you catch my drift. Either way, the Rockets get 4 first-round picks. To me, I'm turning 2 picks. Really, I meant to send 1 pick and a swap for 4. So we're now in 2029, or 2027 even, when my team is incredibly expensive and I've lost some of my depth because I've gotten good players. I now have draft picks, extra draft picks to draft guys, rather than being hamstrung with little picks. And now I have a 20, 31, a 29, 27. Or if I want to do more trades, I've split my 1 asset into 3 assets. Right? Again, they could just draft someone, but I personally don't see the point in that. They're a really deep team. You know, it's kind of like, of course, when the Mavericks had the 10th pick, and they drafted Derek Lively. The difference is, like, the Mavericks did not have a center. They had no center. They had nothing. They had to draft someone. Whereas, like, the Rockets, like, no one they draft is going to play huge minutes day 1. Or else I'd be very, very surprised. So I would rather split this pick up. The Nets would want to do this. Split this pick up. And again, it probably wouldn't be this many picks. 4 first-round picks is kind of nuts, but maybe 3 first-round picks. So that's my thing with trading the 10th pick. I think it makes sense in terms of a asset management. Now, the final trade, it's a Ja Morant trade. I was like, let's throw another superstar trade. I like Ja's fit. Honestly, I would love his fit in Houston, a team that wants to run and get out and play in transition fits his style. He's a really high-level playmaker. Now, the three-point shooting, like, yeah, you need great three-point shooting to win an NBA championship, but, like, who cares? We don't really want three-point shooting. It would be so fun. Him and Amin together, are you kidding me? I think him and Şengün would have great chemistry in the pick and roll. I would love his fit in Houston. I don't think he's going to get traded, but, you know, here's another star. You definitely just trade for Devin Booker as well. In terms of what I think a D-Book trade would look like, I think it would look something like this, plus a Phoenix 1 more pick, probably, or maybe 2 more picks. I think Booker makes even more sense than KD because he's your long-term answer. Because you can be like, yeah, we're good for the next 5 years at this position. Now, where it gets tough with Booker is obviously, why would the Suns want to trade him right now? They don't have enough of their picks to realistically rebuild. And they still want to try to win with Devin Booker. But I think that's what the Booker package would look like. And I do think, honestly, that if Booker does get traded, I would be shocked if it's anywhere but Houston. I think they would go out there and offer a Godfather offer for Devin Booker. So those are the trades I have. Again, not the most trades, not the craziest trades. Honestly, a lot of it's about Kevin Durant, and I've gone over my thoughts about KD in terms of in the San Antonio video. I still think he has enough left in the tank. I would extend him for like 2 more years. I think he can be a, not stopgap, but he can be someone who can play right now and be amazing and be great, and then a couple years down the line, Amin's grown, maybe we trade it for Booker or something, and then KD can leave. But honestly, like, if they get KD this year, and let's say they make a couple other moves, like there's a real chance this team could actually be competing for an NBA championship. So that's why I'm really in on the KD fit. So that's gonna do it for this video. Really exciting, fun video to make. KD trades, always exciting. Got to talk about Amen Thompson. I love Amen Thompson. But that's gonna do it for this video. Please like, subscribe, comment anything. Don't know what team I'm gonna do next. Gonna hopefully make a video tomorrow. Gonna drop my reaction tonight. I got the Thunder to win. I do have the Thunder in 6. So that's gonna do it for this video, and I will see you all next time.